Hey, in today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to remain sane. If we do not have a strategy to live our life, then it can get really tricky because we know that our life can throw questions that we have not thought about, challenges that we have not dreamt about, and uncertainties that we are not prepared for. And I am a very sensitive person, and by that I mean that I sense people. I sense myself, I sense others, and I am in the field of emotional well-being, and a lot of times there's a lot of emotions, and when I get back home I experience residues of those emotions. So I had to really figure it out for myself, and figuring it out is one part of the thing, of the scheme of action. The second and the most important, or rather the more important part, is putting it into action. So today I'll be sharing with you how to be sane, how to manage yourself. And the first point would not come to you as a surprise. The first point is meditate. So every single day before anyone in my house wakes up, I get up and I sit down to manage my mind, to train my awareness, because I know if I'm able to manage the way I look at the world, the way I focus my attention, the way I am able to manage my thoughts and the precious space between two thoughts, I'll be able to take care of everything. And I know that for a lot of people, meditation is a very tricky thing. So they imagine that it's something about sitting still and concentrating and putting a lot of effort. Well, for beginners, I would say that just sit down in a comfortable place, a place that's not too comfortable, otherwise you'll fall back asleep. So in a comfortable space, and just be aware of your breath. So your breath becomes your anchor of attention. So that's your object of attention, the way you breathe in and the way you breathe out. So meditation is number one strategy of remaining sane. Number two for me is that I ensure that mornings are my own. So own your mornings. I know that the most important, most vital, crucial way in which I manage my day is to ensure that the first 2 hours minimum, the first 2 hours of my day are my own. I usually do not check any device during this time because I know that most devices work on the intention of throwing things on us, and we have to react and respond to them throughout the day. So I kind of in some ways draw a boundary in which I set the agenda of my day, and I try and live my day intentionally. So I would decide what are the tasks that I need to do and what are the tasks that are meaningful for me. Because I know that if we just navigate through the day spontaneously, randomly, then we might just end up putting energy on tasks that do not have so much significance, and we might just end up being very busy but about on things that are not very important and do not really add into our well-being or our long-term goals. And that brings me to the point that very important to have goals. So if we do not have a direction or something that really excites us, then it can get very tricky, because there would be a sense of vacuum in us. It's extremely important to have a direction, a vision, a certain idea of what you want to do in your life, or rather what you want to do with your life, because it can get pretty boring and pretty alone and pretty long and pretty exhausting and pretty a lot of other not wanted things if we do not have a purposeful engagement with our present and a sense of anticipation towards our future. And I have had a time when I've had a very secure job, and I would have just everything was in place and I would not have any motivation, just no motivation. And then one fine day I sat down and I asked myself, you know what, Charnita, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want to do with your life, with your time, with your mind, with yourself, with everything? And I sat down and I tried to tune into who I am. And of course it was not an overnight thing. I spent a lot of time with myself, and I created a vision for myself of how my life must look like, and not just how my life would look like, but how do I want my life to feel like, what are the feelings that I'm looking for. And I'm sure that there is a need for another video on this topic, but I'll give you a peep into my vision. So this is how my vision looks like, and probably I'll take another session on that. So very important to manage your time in a way that is meaningful with your goals. And when I say that, the third thing that you want to remember is healthy boundaries. It's important to have healthy boundaries. So the way in which you use social media, devices, the way you spend time with people around you. Very important to ask yourself moment by moment, how is this interaction helping me, facilitating me, or how am I facilitating in this interaction? Because if you were to live every single day with awareness, you'll realize that a lot of time we engage into actions that are toxic, or interactions that are basically futile and do not really add into our lives. So, and then comes healthy boundaries. So a lot of times when you're used to something and you start making radical changes, then you would have to learn what's called healthy assertiveness, how to say no without making the other person feel that they're wrong. Because the moment we use a language of blame and criticism, our connection is threatened. So of course we don't want that. So we need to be able to express our feelings and needs in a way that is clear and does not make the other person feel judged. Very, very, very important. So mind, time and space. The third is space. I think for me it's extremely important to maintain a space that is clutter free. So I need to be able to focus on one thing at a time and ensure that my space allows for that kind of an awareness, because we are living in a world that is all about distraction, overstimulation and unexpected interruption. So if you were to go with the flow and just allow the world to come in, then it can get really crazy. So to be able to ensure that your mind is a sacred space that has internal wisdom and autonomy to balance, to decide how to use itself, your life, it's important to manage your physical space really well. And when I say physical space, the first and the most important physical space is your own body. Manage how you eat, what you eat. If you're eating a lot of processed food, a lot of packaged food, no, that sanity is difficult to maintain if we are eating a lot of processed food, because preservatives are not good for us. Common sense, common practice. If it were the same, life would be such a more beautiful place. So mind, time, space, body, relationship boundaries, random acts of kindness. I think that a lot of times we are at the focus of our own lives. So when we are living our lives with this kind of intense focus on who we are, and we are constantly evaluating ourselves, it can get really heavy. So when you go out and look at the world and observe the world and just notice the world beyond you and find places to make relevant contribution by doing random acts of kindness. Now it could be just pouring water for a puppy because scorching heat is already here. It could be helping somebody, it could be a smile, it could be a gift, it could be a flower, it could be a compliment, it could be an apology. Anything that is beyond you would make you feel better and make you feel come back to your center. So it might sound like a paradox, because we are saying that your sanity in some ways is dependent on how good and kind you are with other people. And do it, experience it. Once you experience it, you would know what I mean, and probably you already know what I mean, and I have a feeling you already know what I mean. Have purposeful engagement. Again, have a vision, have goals, have something purposeful to engage your mind, your heart, your life, your energy, your time to. Boredom, aloneness, all the spaces that are undefined and do not have direction can be very difficult. And of course, I'm not in the favor of excessive busyness, because I've been there. So if you are running from being with yourself, even that needs attention. But you need to have some direction of where you're leading your life. Because if you're not leading your own life from inside out, then your life would be on the reaction mode. So it would be in the reaction mode. It would you would be spending most of your time in reaction to outside stimulation, events and action. And that is not a very fulfilling way of living our life. Be in ownership of your own life. Lead from within. That is probably the crux of personal leadership, that you lead from within. Be it from the mind, from the body, from the soul, and it just reflects and radiates in who you are. So the most important question that I feel every single day that I encounter is, where is my focus? And it is unimaginably important to focus on what matters. A lot of times you'll catch yourself thinking about events of past and future that hold zero relevance. So when you are focused to your vision, towards your goals even, then you will realize that you would learn how to eliminate thoughts, actions that do not really have any significance in your life, and that keeps you anchored in who you are and in some way promotes security, sanity and all of those good words. Yes, I know that my understanding of a happy life also has a perspective of graceful acceptance of the past. So most of the times I have a gratitude journal all through with me, like throughout the day it is with me. And I know I've had times um, when I used to keep it as a, before sleep activity, just nightly activity. But now it seems like it has become a part of my day. My gratitude journal is with me so that anytime something really beautiful pops up, I make a note of it and it contributes into my overall sanity. And now as I look into the camera, I see that there is 2% battery left. And I am hoping if I can cover one last point. Be gentle with yourself. No matter what's going on in your life, I just want you to know that you'll figure it out. You will figure it out. You'll figure it out. You will figure it out. Just be gentle with yourself. Know that you'll manage it all. You have done it in the past, you'll do it in the present, and your future will be sane and secure. With that, just one tiny little thing that I wanted to say. Design your day consciously. Do not let a default mode of action take over your time, because if you do that, then you won't realize how the day passed, how the month passed, and how the entire year passed. And this is specifically for those people who get up in the morning and have this unbearable craving to look at mobile phone. Because if that is the way you're starting your day with, then you are starting your day with a cluttered mind. So see if you can manage your mind in a way that you are the master of it and you are able to channelize it in the way you want. If you're able to do that, I promise you that you will discover a life that is easy and beautiful.